And here we go. Live from the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios, it's the Playbook on Fan Run Radio. With Brett Hollander and Caleb DeBus joining you, I'm William Pattison. We appreciate you listening along with us on this fine Tuesday from Knoxville, Tennessee. We've got plenty to cover over the next 2 hours, including getting you ready for Tennessee and South Carolina today in Hoover, Alabama for the SEC tournament. Tennessee beginning their postseason play against the Gamecocks. We'll talk about that, what to watch for, keys to the game, and much more. And then a little bit later on, we'll switch over to Tennessee football and talk about Josh Heupel and company on the recruiting trail, picking up a commitment yesterday with an in-state kid out of Madison, Tennessee. We'll discuss that and what that 2027 class is currently shaping up to be. And then to round out hour one, we'll take a look at the latest ESPN NBA mock draft as 3 volunteers are slated to go in the 2 rounds that are set for June in the NBA. And that would be a record if Tennessee were to do that. It would tie 2019's record for most draft selections in a specific draft. And some good news for Tennessee basketball, also considering the fact that you might have had 3 NBA players on last year's team. Pretty good stuff for Coach Rick Barnes, I should say. And then in hour 2, yesterday I kind of hinted at that post-spring top 25 when we were discussing the quarterback situation for Tennessee. I decided today might as well just go ahead and unveil it on here as well, and we'll discuss and have a roundtable discussion there. And then we'll head to the NBA playoffs. What a game last night. Even if you're not a huge NBA fan, you had to have appreciated last night's double overtime thriller between the Spurs and the Thunder. That was the first time in 5 years that an NBA playoff game has gone to 2 overtime periods or more. And we'll discuss our takeaways from the Wemby City takeover in Oklahoma City. We'll wrap it up with our final thoughts. But plenty to cover on a Tuesday. We're so happy you're here. If you're on that YouTube live stream, make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss any fan-run content this time of year. Before we get into the rest of the show, let's welcome in the rest of the crew, beginning with Brett. Brett, how are you on this Tuesday?
Good. Fired up. Game day. You don't expect Tennessee to be playing this early in the SEC tournament, but here we are. It's exciting. Playing pretty good baseball right now and things like that. So excited for that. Garrett's been posting some photos and comments, so glad he's down there and things like that. But, yeah, the game last night was pretty amazing. Wemby might be the second best player I've ever seen at this age. What he's doing is pretty remarkable. But, yeah. And then this anonymous quote stuff, I don't know if you've been seeing these going around. Do you wish they put a name with some of these quotes? Or do you like to try – like I think that spice it up a little bit. You know, we got all the Ole Miss comments and Sarkisian and Kiffin and Golding going at it. Let's put a name with some of these comments.
Yeah, I think the reason why they're anonymous is because they'll probably be a little bit more lax and say something a little bit more extreme, or they'll tell the truth.
But if they're anonymous, go all out.
Yeah,
like they didn't tell us anything about Tennessee. We didn't really already know, right?
No, I agree.
So I mean, I will say maybe the goalish thing, or maybe not. I think our offense has been fairly potent since goalish.
Sure,
but.
Well, I didn't take Golish's comments as a negative thing.
You talking about Golish with Kubalik?
Oh, yes. Is that what you're referring to?
No, Golish is our offense was referred to Golish when he was here being we haven't been as potent as that offense.
Okay.
Heupel's had some I mean, we're number 1 in the conference last year in offense, SEC player of the years, and the downfield threats. I feel like we got those too this year.
If I had a guess of who that might be, I'm going to say Eli Drinkwitz at Missouri. Mm-hmm. Because I don't think, a Kalen DeBoer's not saying that. Kirby Smart's not saying that. John Summerall isn't saying that.
Maybe a Beamer.
Maybe a Beamer, but I don't know who's interviewing him
That's
these
definitely
days.
Drink. Drink has a weird obsession with Tennessee for some reason.
Yeah, who's giving Shane Beamer an interview? He's got his own things to figure out. And Beamer started off at Tennessee. He actually doesn't hate the Vols.
Do you think they picked one coach to talk about one specific team, I guess?
I mean, for Athlon, I bet they'll do whatever it takes to get one guy to talk
Or
to
do
him.
they just go, hey, give me your best quote for you pick the team and give me a quote?
Well, it's probably just, what do you think of this team? And they'll I mean, I don't want to speak for Athlon and how they do it, but I imagine they just get them on a phone or text back and forth and say, what do you
they're
think of
fun.
Tennessee?
It's perfect for like middle of summer, getting ready for summer type conversation
Drama. Yeah,
you can
sure.
have and stuff like that. So it is neat seeing them, but it's a good idea.
Yeah. Caleb, to you, how are you on this Tuesday?
Feeling good. Had an absolute cinematic game to watch last night. That game was one of the best game, or the best game of the playoffs so far. Wemby is my hero for beating OKC and OKC. That flop early in the game on that little corner shot really made me smile. So
yeah,
just feeling good. It's been brutally hot, but we're in the AC today. So
that's one of the things I don't really know. And I stepped outside for a moment after the show yesterday just so I could feel it. But I get in here I got here at 8 this morning, so it was still bearable. And then I didn't walk outside again last night till I left around 7:30, and it's kind of dropped down by then. So I really haven't experienced how hot it is. But I looked yesterday when I was inside, and it was 89 degrees. So I guess it's heating up. I mean, it's Memorial Day weekend. You want it to be hot. You want it to be warm.
I think, we're in May, and now like the next 10 days have rain in the forecast.
I did see that.
So it's going to be like off and on, like that kind of stuff, but here we are. I mean, it's summer, so what can you do?
Yeah. Summer is arriving. Memorial Day this weekend. Excited to go to the lake.
And there's a note from Garrett. Mizzou's already challenged 6 times today.
Really?
I thought but if you get them right, you don't lose them. So they're 5 of 6 on challenges today.
Man, that might extend some games. I guess, what does it take? 2 minutes to figure that out? A minute? How quick is that ABS system?
It says challenges are being overused and the zone is way too big in this SEC tournament so far.
So do we get
Ole Miss has definitely been hurt by it.
Do we get the little box on the screen?
It's like when they throw the pitch, they challenge it, and then it pops up on like the big screen out in the outfield, and it shows like the box, like when we're watching it on TV, and it shows if it hits in the box or not, things like that. So interesting to see. We were wondering, and obviously it's a big talking point that Mizzou's beating Ole Miss.
Drama unfolding early in Hoover, Alabama, Tennessee. In line to begin postseason play today, and that's where we'll begin with our first things first topic. As number 20 Tennessee will look to continue its recent run of successful visits to Hoover as they meet up with South Carolina today in what it hopes to be a long week in Hoover, beginning the 2026 SEC baseball tournament. First pitch for today's action, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time on the SEC network, as the Volunteers enter this year's tournament as the number 10 seed after finishing with a 15-15 record in conference play, following back-to-back series wins over number 4 Texas and number 20 Oklahoma to wrap up the regular season. And they'll take on the 15-seeded Gamecocks in the third game of Tuesday's opening round after the two teams did not meet in the regular season for the first time since USC Junior joined in 1992. So it's been a while since it hasn't occurred that both teams have played in the same season. So even though they didn't play in the regular season, we still get a matchup this year. And thankfully, this Gamecocks team is not great, but that doesn't mean anything once you get into postseason play. Every game could be your last. And for the SEC tournament, that's the case today for the Volunteers. And the keys to the victory, let's begin with that. I think what you've seen over the last 2 weeks from Tennessee is hopefully a telltale sign of what you're going to see moving forward, because that is consistency. And that's kind of been lacking throughout the year. Even begin at the start of the season. Go to the Children's Hospital Classic in Texas. Obviously, UCLA was a really good opponent, and it was going to be a tall task to beat them. But you struggled at the plate, and you had really good pitching, but you couldn't get anything going at the plate. And then the following games, you're able to find some production out of your bats, and then the pitching wasn't necessarily. Even over the last couple of weeks, you sweep Mississippi State, everything's riding high. Then you come back and drop one to Ole Miss. Oh, everything's back. A really nice doubleheader against Alabama. Then you go on the road to Kentucky and drop the series. The last 2 weeks, though, you beat Texas and Oklahoma, 2 top 25 teams, and you played complimentary baseball in 4 out of the 6 games. That's enough to win, and that's what Tennessee has done. No duh that when they play complimentary baseball, they win games. This is a really talented roster. They should. So I think the key for today and really every night moving forward, you've got to play complimentary baseball. If you're going to get the type of pitching production needed, especially in a day like today, if Cam Appenzeller gives you 4 good innings, you've got to make the most of your at-bats during that time frame too. Because after Appenzeller's done, it's a little bit of a let's piece it together and get out of here because you don't want to waste a Tegan Coons or you don't want to waste some of these other arms that you're going to see later this week. Tegan Coons most likely getting the start tomorrow against Arkansas if Tennessee handles business today. So you're in a little bit of a schedule change, but as Brett mentioned yesterday, it's kind of similar to playing in the midweek. As Appenzeller has played in this midweek spot before, so it's not a foreign territory for him tonight. But as you move forward, Landon Mack, his status still up in the air. You're going to have to make the most of the pitching performances from Tegan Coons and Evan Blanco to get through the rest of this tournament, and you're going to need your bats to show up. So really, for me, it's complimentary baseball, and especially when you've got the guys on the mound that are dealing and have dealt throughout the season, you've got to take advantage of that before the bullpen comes in, and the bullpen has been an inconsistency for Tennessee throughout the year. So consistent baseball, complimentary baseball, taking advantage of when a guy is dueling on the mound, you've got to get some good at-bats, and Tennessee's had some recently, a lot of momentum on the offensive side of things. But again, this is Hoover, Alabama. This is the SEC tournament. It's win or go home. You're going to get every team's best crack, even if they're the lowly Gamecocks out of South Carolina. Brett, to you, your keys to the game, your key for today. How does Tennessee come out with a win?
Just got to take care of it. Get off to a fast start. You don't want to let South Carolina hang around, give them any reason to think they can win this one because honestly, you don't know how. I don't really understand the RPI kind of stuff. I mean, I have a general idea, but this one could affect a seeding. You know, if you were to lose to a team that I think I heard on Tony B's show that they said maybe they're over their last 12 in SEC games. I'm not sure on that, but something to those lines. So this would be a bad loss. So you want to come in and ride whatever momentum you have, and jump on them early and win the game comfortably. And then happens. This could be a moment that depending on Landon Mack, this could be a trial for he might be a starter in a regional or a super if you get that far or both. So this is just a big moment for him. Go out there and show kind of how many pitches they have in mind for him. If they just let him go, no matter the pitch count, because this might be his one and only time you use him in Hoover. So interested to see what they do there. Maybe it's a scenario you get up early and kind of save his arm as much as you can. But yeah, you just got to come out early. You haven't got off to the best start either the last few games. So just want to see a clean first inning, that type of stuff. And then, as I mentioned, what's this ABS thing going to do? So all that thing's going to play into the game and all that. So, but the main thing is just get out there with a victory and, move on. And hopefully you're not using many arms either. So save them for as you go into the tournament. So, just a quick start from the offense for me.
Caleb, to you, keys to victory for the Volunteers against the Gamecocks today.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much everything Brett said. Just get out. I mean, this is it for South Carolina. I mean, this team's won 22 games the whole season. So this is it for them. If they lose this, they're going home. This is the last time some of these guys play together. So you never know teams with their back against the wall in wounded animal mode. You never know what they're going to come out. You're obviously going to take their best shot. So yeah, just come out, shut them up quick, start hot. Don't give them any reason to get the dugout fired up, and just take care of business. There's no reason we should fool around with this team at all. This team's kind of pathetic.
Well, yeah, they've lost 12 in a row right now.
Yeah,
so they're not a good team.
Yeah, and the reports out of South Carolina today are all about their next coach.
That'd be a heck of a hire. If they
clearly see where they're thoughts are aligned this morning. But the Vols have had an unprecedented amount of success in Hoover this decade, posting a 15-6 overall record at the event in their 6 appearances since 2021. Tennessee is also 7-3 in its last 10 games in Hoover and has advanced to Sunday's championship game in 3 of the past 5, 2021, 2022, and 2024, while winning a pair of tournament titles in that span, 2022 and 2024. Prior to 2020, Tennessee had made just 4 SEC tournament appearances since 2008 and had not won a game in Hoover since 2007. So obviously things have changed over the last 4 to 5 years for this group. And let's get into those expectations in Hoover. Well, let's begin with today. The expectation is a win. If you lose today's game, you're not going into the NCAA tournament with a whole lot of hope because it's going to be dashed after 2 strong weeks. You're supposed to continue to ride that in. So have to win today. I'd look at tomorrow as almost a must-win too. I really don't want this group to go one and done in the SEC tournament and the only win being a team that is kind of just there, right? If you beat a team like Arkansas, they're immensely talented, well-coached, good program, and then you get to that Friday game and it's kind of house money from then on out. And this is a group that's played in the SEC championship multiple times, as I mentioned, in the last 5 years. So it is doable, but I think at least my expectation is to win 2 games in Hoover, and after that, it's kind of house money. And if you win the whole thing, you might work yourself into hosting, and that's still on the table, something to play for. But at least in today's sense, non-negotiable. Got to win today against South Carolina. But my expectations, 2 wins. Caleb, to you, what about your expectations for this Tennessee team in Hoover?
Yeah, I would say 2 wins, just given the fact that if we do beat Arkansas, we're going to match up against the Texas team who's kind of reeling a little bit, feeling it. They kind of probably want to get their get back on us. And we probably would end up dropping that game. But I think 2 wins is enough to get us into a hosting spot. I think 17 SEC wins. I think if you go over 500 in SEC play, I think you're in a pretty good spot to host. I think right now they had us as the last projection I saw, they had us as the number 2 seed in Hattiesburg.
Yeah.
So I don't know how fond I would be going back to Hattiesburg without Blake Burke this time. But I mean, I'd rather host. But honestly, if we play in the Hattiesburg region, I don't think I'd be too upset.
Yeah, a couple of different projections. D1 Baseball had Tennessee pinned as a 2 seed in that Hattiesburg regional. Keep in mind the Volunteers have eliminated the Golden Eagles twice in the last 4 years. He did so in 2023 and in 2024. But obviously this is a different Southern Miss team. This is a different Tennessee team, but you have some familiarity in Hattiesburg. And then another projection I saw was in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, with the Tar Heels as a host site, and that one was a pretty competitive bunch as well. So, again, you can only help yourself this week. And, Brett, to you, what are your expectations for this Vols baseball team trying to kind of move up the ladder, move up the seedings a little bit? There's still a lot at play this week.
Yeah. I mean, you want to go as far as you can. Do you do that to the detriment of the team, though? I mean, you go in and you want to win every baseball game. Your offense is rolling right now, and so if you tell me our offense is going to be, I think you're averaging close to 8-9 runs a game over your last 12 or so games. You tell me we're going to have that type of offense. Now we'll see how we are without Chapman. He's been your hottest hitter. That could change things a little bit, but I think if you go in there and you have some success with your bats and your pitching, kind of, your best pitchers are kind of pushed down into this tournament a little bit, and we know if you see Texas, they're obviously to be fresh, but you're going to see a guy you've had a lot of success with, and the Voltanis guy. So, I think you just honestly you take it one game at a time, and if you don't have to get into your bullpen too early and your bats are rolling, then I think you're right there. But I'll go just 2 and done. But I think we're going to be competitive in being knocked out of this thing, whenever that might be.
Well, the bats have hit their stride in a big way in recent weeks as the Vols have been one of the league's most productive offensive teams down the stretch over the final 5 SEC series. UT scored 7 or more runs in 9 of its 15 games, posting a 7-2 record when doing so. The Big Orange scored 10-plus runs 5 times in that stretch, were a perfect 5-0 in those contests. Now, during its first 15 conference games, Tennessee averaged 5.8 runs per game and hit just 20 home runs. In its last 15, a different story. The Vols have averaged nearly 2 more runs per game at 7.5 and have blasted 33 homers. And since the calendar turned April, the Big Orange have really increased their power numbers as well, hitting 65 long balls in just 27 games, an average of 2.4 a night to go along with 54 doubles and 3 triples. These are the numbers that you got pretty comfortable with under Tony Vitello. And it seems as if this current Tennessee team in 2026 has found their stride. And I think Josh Elander is starting to get more and more comfortable of being the Vols head skipper. And I think that comes into the decision-making in terms of pulling guys at the right time and inserting guys into a lineup. Let's say, Texas has got a really good lefty. You see a guy pop in and stuff like that. So I think I think Elander, as I'm thinking of Frank Anderson, Josh Elander has done a better job as of late. I think he's more comfortable. I think he's got a little bit of fire to him now. And it's not overdone like in a Tony Vitello fashion, but every now and then it's good to see some emotion. And that means you care. And there was never a doubt of if Elander cared or not. But I like to see that from a coach. I like to see that from a team because that shows that they're invested, that they care, and you started to see a little bit more of that. And you did see it in Oklahoma. Now that the bats are starting to get pretty consistent, you're starting to see the full potential of this team long term. The roster, as you know, came into the season as one of the most talented in college baseball. Putting out numbers like these where you're going 65 long balls in 27 games, where you've increased your average in the second half of SEC play by almost 2 runs, that's the type of stuff that you want to see heading into the postseason, specifically the SEC tournament and beyond. And I think right now you have to rely on the bats because they've been at somewhat a consistent enough level. Now, you've had a couple of Sundays where you kind of struggle, but also the pitching has been all over the place as well. And I think that is attributed to it. But it doesn't seem to be an issue right now at the plate for Tennessee, which is a good sign. Brett, do you think that continues in Hoover this weekend?
Yeah, 100%. I don't have any reason not to think that. I think he's put the right guys out there. They're just not performing. I think Grenlinger has been the key to all this. He's been able to stick him in the middle lineup. He's hitting as good as anybody in the country, and that's just helped the lineup. And I have no reason to think this lineup won't keep it going. Like I said, though, the Chapman thing's a real deal. He's been a senior leader and a good left-handed bat to have in the middle of the lineup. So interesting to see who he replaces that with and things like that. But yeah, I mean, this last however many games, you've been rolling. Doesn't matter who the pitchers are. You've seen the best pitcher in the SEC, arguably undefeated guy, and you were able to tag him for some runs and things like that, and it just continued all the way through. And I think I really expect this offense to have a big time down in Hoover this week.
Well, switching over to the mound, Tennessee freshman Cam Appenzeller will start for the Vols in their SEC tournament opener against the Gamecocks. Josh Elander made that announcement yesterday, saying, quote, "We'll roll with Appy. He'll be our starting pitcher tomorrow. He's a guy we're excited about when we get down there. I know he likes the big moment." And this will be a pretty big moment for the youngster who has been pretty good throughout the year. Hasn't finished off the year as quite as great as he started it, but still a guy that was recognized on the all-freshman team by the conference yesterday, in addition to being a perfect game midseason first-team all-freshman team member. That's a little bit of a word salad, but regardless, Appenzeller, the guy today, Landon Mack, his status still up in the air. You figure that Tennessee's going with App today because he's had a couple of midweek performances. And you want Tegan Coons tomorrow for a bigger matchup against Arkansas. And then you got Blanco the following game to go back onto that schedule, that normal rotation you see on a weekend. But Appenzeller, he's only thrown 78 pitches as his highest number, and that was at Mississippi State. And he's only exceeded 70 pitches twice. So he's not necessarily accustomed to coming into this spot and dueling for a while. So I think if you can get 4 innings out of him 4.5, 5, you're in a good spot, and hopefully your bats are able to put up enough of a lead to supplement the rest of the way, because you're going to have a couple of arms come in out of the bullpen to get you to the finish line. But Caleb, to you, do you like this decision for Cam Appenzeller going today, and what do you expect from him on the mound?
Yeah, I said something about this yesterday. I don't think he's going to have to throw the game of his life here to win this game. I think just go out, do what you've done. I mean, this is basically one of these higher level midweek teams. I mean, this is about the same level of opponent that we're going to play here. So it's a Tuesday. It's basically a midweek, so he's not really thrown out of his schedule at all. He's a little short on rest. You'd like him to have a couple more days, but throw him out there, see what he does. I think saving Coons for tomorrow, if that's what we end up doing, I think that's the right move. I like throwing Appy here. I think he's more than capable of shutting down this lineup.
Well, following the SEC tournament, the Vols will await their NCAA tournament draw and regional designation. That selection show will air on ESPN at noon Eastern time on Memorial Day. That's Monday, May 25th. But Tennessee and South Carolina later on today. SEC Network, no plus. You can watch it on your TV. And that's got a first pitch expected at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. However, you got to maybe wait out a couple of minutes depending on those games in front of Tennessee and South Carolina. And with Garrett talking about all these ABS challenges, it might be closer to 6 o'clock if Missouri's already fired off 6 challenges in the first, 2 innings? Is that right?
No, they're in the bottom of the 7th. I don't know when the challenges have happened, but yeah, they're in the bottom of the 7th.
Okay,
right now.
I must have read that wrong then.
Kentucky's schedule will start at 2, so we'll see if that happens or not.
Got it. All right, when we come back on the other side, we'll flip to football and discuss the 2027 recruiting trail for Josh Heupel. They got an addition yesterday, an in-state kid out of Madison, Tennessee, but now 2 players in the state have committed elsewhere in the last 24 hours. We'll tell you those names as well. Stay right here. It's the Playbook on Fan Run Radio.
For the fans, by the fans, this is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
What kind of day is it? It's a White Claw day. Grab a pack, grab your friends. Everything else in life can wait. Your friends shouldn't. Let's go. White Claw. Grab life by the claw. Please drink responsibly. Hard seltzer with flavors. White Claw Seltzer Works, Chicago, Illinois.
Vol fans, reimagine your home at Broadway Carpets and Flooring for any remodeling or building needs. With a variety of carpets, rugs, hardwood, vinyl, and stone, Broadway has all the flooring and installation options you're looking for, including pet-resistant products like Pet Perfect Carpet from Shaw Floors. Visit their showroom in downtown Knoxville or the location in West Knoxville located on Kingston Pike near Pellissippi Parkway today.
A brand built in Tennessee and born from the love of the game, Inward Half revolutionizes golfing comfort. Crafted by a former pro and dedicated enthusiast just like you, our luxury performance wear guarantees you stay cool and comfortable through every swing and every day. We're not just a brand. We've set out to create a lifestyle for those who understand that impeccable style and premium performance are a hole-in-one. Enjoy the walk-in with Inward Half.
Smoky Mountain Brewery is the place to be for game day. From the moment you walk in, it's wall-to-wall big screens, making Smoky Mountain Brewery the perfect place to watch the Vols or your favorite team in action. With locations in Turkey Creek, Maryville, Pigeon Forge, and Gatlinburg, you're never far away from a great time at Smoky Mountain Brewery. Try one of their world-famous microbrews like Black Bear Ale, Mountain Light, or Cherokee Ale. Juicy burgers, wings that bring the heat, and delicious handmade pizzas made with hand-tossed crust from the freshest ingredients and their own special sauce from a secret recipe, topped off with hand-grated cheese and farm-fresh toppings. And don't forget, those famous microbrews are also available in kegs for your next party or in 6-packs and growlers to go. So grab your crew and head to Smoky Mountain Brewery and tell them Fan Run Radio sent you. Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good.
The voluntary reaction
Can't get enough Tennessee basketball? Join Fan Run Radio as soon as every UT game is over for Big Orange Country's post-game radio free-for-all. The Voluntary Reaction will be taking your calls on the Vols as soon as every game is over. So tune in and buckle up as we drink from the keg of glory all the way to the Final Four.
The Voluntary Reaction. Raw, unfiltered, real.
All right, back here on the Playbook. We appreciate you hanging out with us on this Tuesday. Whether you're listening on the free Fan Run Radio app, 105.7 FM or 1340 AM here in K-Town on the local dial, or on the X/YouTube live stream. Have your listener watching. We do appreciate your time. We'll flip over to the recruiting trail for Josh Heupel, as on Monday night, Tennessee football added to its growing class of 2027 as the Vols landed the commitment of three-star defensive back Brandon Lavelle out of Madison, Tennessee. He picked UT over the likes of Florida and Clemson and is now the 8th commitment in the 2027 class for Tennessee. The group features 2 consensus 4-star prospects and wide receiver Kassan Bowman. He's an in-state kid out of Brentwood Academy. You've also got an offensive lineman, Princeton Uwafo, and then another 4-star on just rivals is defensive lineman Caden Fife. And then while Josh Heupel and the company are still not done in the recruiting cycle, there's still a lot of work to be done, but got a couple of good commitments. I think Kassan Bowman is a really nice name to know. I think he could be a player that you see right away play possibly in 2027. But when you look at the current standings for this class, as we move into what is kind of commitment season for many of these high school guys this summer, Tennessee ranks 28th in the 24/7 rankings and 23rd in the Rivals rankings. And obviously that's not the standard for Tennessee football, but again, there's a lot of work to be done. National Signing Day a long way away. Some big names like David Gabriel Georges still out there to recruit and try to land in Knoxville. But what I currently make of the 2027 class is, I think you're trying to add a couple of, just depth pieces with some of these safeties or defensive linemen. You can never get too many of those. And I think when you look at this current roster right now, you like the defensive line, but there are some concerns about how deep you can go. Now, you've recruited really well at that position to where like Amari and Dye could be really big, to where a Davian Hobbs, who's been here for so many seasons, can have an impact senior year and maybe wound up getting drafted in the 2027 NFL draft. So you've done a good job developing guys, and Ronnie Garner is a hell of a coach on that defensive line, but you're just continuing to add more pieces. When we were talking about the NFL draft, I thought that Joshua Josephs and Tyree West, guys like that, could have gone anywhere and could have been selected at any time because they're really good players, and you can never have too many linemen on the defensive side of the ball. And the way Tennessee likes to play, go back to 2024, the most success you've had was having 9-10 guys you could rotate in and out. So I like the defensive mindset there with a Caden Fife. Offensive lineman kind of the same way. I don't think you can ever recruit or bring in too many linemen. Kassan Bowman, I think, is a playmaker, and making sure to land one of the best playmakers in the States is really important. Now, you've lost 2 guys in the last 24 hours as well, both in-state kids. You saw a 4-star corner commit to Kentucky earlier today, and he's out of what is it? Martin, Tennessee. He played at the same high school as Ty Simpson. I imagine
Brown or something like that. Wasn't his name Miles Brown?
Miles Brown.
Yeah, I think so.
And he played at the same school that Ty Simpson did, the same place that Josh Heupel was at back in January.
Ty's brother now, right?
Yeah, Ty Simpson's brother still goes there.
Yeah.
But you missed 2 in-state kids over the last 24 hours, one of which, though, the one yesterday that did not commit, I heard Clemson came in with a pretty big offer and kind of swooped him up. But here's my other thing with this class. I know that you want to have a really high ranking in the high school ranks, like, oh, Tennessee's got a top 5 class. That's really, really good. Tennessee's got a top 10 class. Man, Josh Heupel's cooking. But I think in 2026, it's time to realize that high school is almost just paying guys to come in and transfer after a year. And I think the staff has started to realize that. And instead of blowing $400,000 on a 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid in Madison, Tennessee or Martin, Tennessee. I'd rather put $400,000 to a kid out of the transfer portal that has already established himself in college football. That's the way I look at it right now, because yes, it is important to recruit and it is important to get in-state kids and all that, but don't get into bidding wars over 3-star kids that are in-state just because you're trying to fit an image. And with the guy going to Clemson yesterday, that's kind of what Tennessee did. We're not getting into a bidding war with you, Dabo Swinney. We're not getting into a bidding war over a guy that could be here for a year and might not even ever play for us. Let's go get guys out of the transfer portal that have already proven they can play at this level, and I'll go divvy out my money that way. And I think if you're a Tennessee fan, that should be good to hear, because at the end of the day, if you're the one paying to go to these games and spending all the prices and all that to fund this university, then you want the best players, and you want guys that are here to play and not here to collect a check and practice and then hit the portal soon after because they didn't play right away. I'd rather go get guys that can play right now and have already established themselves. And I think it would be great for Tennessee staff to not get involved in bidding wars for high school kids, unless it's a guy that you think is a must-play, must-start guy right away. And you've got guys like that in this class. Kassan Bowman's one of them. A Princeton Uwafio is one of those. You develop him, develop a lineman, he'll become a potential starter. Those linemen, I think, are a little bit different. But like for a David Gabriel Georges, you pay the guy. And if you pass on a 3-star corner in state that wanted, $400,000, take that $400,000, go pay the kid that might win the Heisman Trophy for you, and David Gabriel Georges. So I'm not losing sleep over it. I'm not looking at rankings and saying, oh gosh, Josh Heupel's losing the rope. Bring the guys in that you think can, be of impact long-term, maybe can be developed or maybe can play right away. But we're not blowing the budget on recruiting 17-year-olds that could very easily get up and leave. Don't blow money on those guys. I want established players. I want Can Lees. I want Quay Mosses. I want TJ Metcalfs on my team, not guys that are running up prices that are sitting in.
What's the number now for
class.
like a high school class? Like, I mean, does it just like it's just hard to know? I guess I don't know, because the scholarship numbers have gone up, right? So you can, I think it's at 105 or whatever it is, 115, but. Well, I don't know what the number is you're looking at, as far as what do we bring in, like 25 or something like that in last year's high school class, and stuff like that. You just wonder how many of those guys are going to be instant impact type possible players. Faison, obviously, he's looking to be at our starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Osenda could play this year. You're always rotating offensive linemen. But, yeah, I agree with you, though. Those high-end 5-stars, you're going to go spend the money on those guys rather than a 3-star corner that may or may not be here in a year.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you on that stance.
This is anticipated to be the most expensive high school recruiting class this upcoming year.
The one we just had come in?
Right now, the one they're recruiting.
The 27 class?
27 class. And the
Really?
reason why is because the price is going to continue to go up. Next transfer portal class. You thought Sam Levitt making $5 million was ridiculous? Wait till next year. Number one guy demands 6 or 7.
Do you think George's will cost more than David Sanders did for us, or about the same?
Oh,
David Sanders was rumored to be the most expensive freshman or the high school kid that year.
I think you'll have to be right up there with. 2 years after the fact, when the prices continue to be raised. I think a top tier quarterback, the number one quarterback, is right around like $1 million to 1.25
for a high school kid.
For a high school kid, that's at least the number that Pete Nakos put out last week, and or around that number. I don't want to specifically quote him if that wasn't the correct number, but it's in that range.
Yeah, absolutely.
For an elite player, you're talking over $500,000 for an elite quarterback or an elite defensive edge. Like, USC's got that Waffle kid. He's 6'6", 295. Like, that's a guy that can play right away.
Why do you think the elite programs are still going after a 5-star young quarterback? Like, we talk about the top teams, like they're hitting the portal a lot of people are just going to develop the Indiana, like just boom, 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 until it gets to a point where maybe there's not as many good quarterbacks out there that you want to go in the portal and get, and you develop. There's going to be a time it circles back around, don't you think, to the young quarterback again?
Well, I think that there is still a positive in recruiting at a high school and developing guys. For Tennessee's case this year, it's saving their ass that they have a George McIntyre and a Faison Brandon.
Very
Now,
true.
whether those guys win a bunch of games next year or not,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think is significant because at least you have two options and you have a future. It's not like you're bringing in Caden Hauser out of East Carolina just to get the job done this year, just to get us, so if Brandon takes a job, McIntyre takes it, whoever, now that's a quarterback for the next 2 to 3 years to where he's only going to continue to get better and you're not having to worry about the transfer portal.
But you'd have to repay him maybe.
And you have to repay him, sure, but that's a guy that I feel like it's a different dynamic if you come in.
Because it's what Nico did, right?
Oh,
Nico played
yeah.
1 year and boom, he wasn't like hugely successful, but he got to the playoff and probably hindsight's 2020 now. Maybe you should have given him an extra $2 million.
Sure. I mean, I think for a team like Tennessee, right, an SEC team that is able to develop a quarterback and they progress over time. Lenoris Sellers is an example. Now, he hadn't necessarily progressed like you anticipated he would after his freshman year, but he's staying in South Carolina because they're paying him well and he has the familiarity with the staff. He's a South Carolina kid. He wants to stay around. So that there are examples other than, just bringing guys in and out of the transfer portal. It's obviously going to be competitive, but if you're a school like Tennessee that can compete financially, you're going to be able to keep your top guys. Mm-hmm. And for Nico's case, it was more kind of just drama that then snowballed into an exit.
Yeah.
If it had been settled internally and had not leaked out and not have become a big thing, then we wouldn't be sitting here talking about it.
Yeah.
But when this camp puts out this, then you got Tennessee's people putting out this, and it just creates drama. And then he left. Yeah,
that stuff happens a lot more than you think it does.
Yeah, no, yeah.
There's a lot of that stuff that goes on that we don't hear about.
Yeah, most certainly. So, Caleb, to you, what do you make of this current class? What do you make of Tennessee's philosophy?
I think Tennessee kind of has put themselves in a position to where we have to operate a little bit differently than some of these top programs do. Like you got teams that still do it the old school way. You got like an Ohio State, a Georgia, teams like that, like an Oregon that still heavily rely on high school recruiting and developing kids, getting them, and that's because they've done the work to afford themselves the opportunity to do that. They have guys that are ready to play now, and they also have several guys behind them that are in the process of getting ready to play. But Tennessee's not afforded that right now. Tennessee's kind of in a win now mode. We have the money, but we're still working on getting the horses, and we don't really have time to sit and develop those horses. So we have to plug and play a lot of our positions with transfer portal guys. And there's teams that do that really successfully. I mean, you saw Indiana overhaul their roster completely, go to the playoffs one year, then win a national title the next year. So both philosophies work well. You just got to get the right guys in the building. It doesn't matter. Like you saw with Texas Tech and Indiana last year, are two perfect examples of this. Does not matter how much money you spend. You need to get the right guys in the building. You can spend $60 million on a roster, but if you don't have the right kids in the building that are bought in, you're not going to have any success. And then on the opposite, you can spend 30 or 20 million on a roster, but if you got the right guys that are all together, you can go do much better than that team that spent 60 million.
Yeah, most certainly. I think it's all about bringing in the right guys culture wise. I think Rick Barnes does an incredible job of that, making sure the guys you bring in are going to fit the locker room.
Portal you're trying to buy starters, right? You're trying to replace guys, and then because even these kids you're getting now are 17, like we speak to being young, you got to develop them over 2 years before they're ready to hit the field, especially in the SEC.
Yeah.
And things like that. So the portal, you're really going to trying to buy a starter per position almost, or most positions it seems like, or at least one for each, one stud receiver or, whatever it might be. You might need a proven tackle. I don't know what it might be, but seems like that's what the portal's for. And while this is still important to try and get as good a players as you can to come and develop.
Yeah, and I think that high school recruiting is still going to be important because those are guys you can stash and develop over time. Now, maybe they get poached away, and that's always a possibility. But, I mean, I look across the country this year, there were a number of freshmen that were significant impact players. DeCorian Moore, wide receiver out of Oregon, was one of the best receivers in college football. Brandon Finney on the other side of the ball for the Ducks. Brandon Finney is one of the best DBs in the country. Mm-hmm. a Leonard Moore as a freshman at Notre Dame in 2024.
Were these kids 5 stars though, or some of them?
Now, Nicorian Moore was a 5-star. Leonard Moore was a top 100 player. Malachi Toney,
he
was a kind of and he reclassified, but he was like a top 1,000 recruit.
Yeah.
And he was a quarterback recruit too. So you can find talent out of the high school ranks and develop them. I mean, hell, obviously Ohio State's had a ton of success with that.
Yeah.
But in this current wave that we're in, the 2026 college football world, I think it is still valuable to have guys in your back pocket like Tennessee's quarterback situation, and also be able to bring in high-end talent that can gel around other veteran transfer portal players, right? So, and that was kind of the case for Ty Redmond. Ty Redmond has had an opportunity last year and would have played alongside a Jeremiah McCoy and Ricky Gibson and those, but you get thrusted in the position, you've got to have a guy ready to go, and sometimes it's those high school players. So it is still valuable, even though the transfer portal is usually the home for the starters. Real quick, Buck on the YouTube chat saying, just put a deposit down for my Nashville Super Bowl ticket, $3,500 for a deposit on one.
Jesus.
Titans hosting. Nashville is hosting, excuse me. Nashville is hosting.
It's the closest Titans are going to get.
Nashville is hosting the Super Bowl. I wonder what The View will say tomorrow from 8 to 11 here on Fan Run Radio about that. But a couple of my Titans friends quote tweeted the post and said, wow, I get to watch Cam Ward in 3 years. I guess he'll be I imagine he'd be at the game.
Might be, yeah. I would think so. Maybe.
Those club suites are nice.
Yeah, he'll be in the box seats. But.
Yeah, club suite, field level suites. So you can see Cam Ward, they'll kind of pan. They'll go, oh, there's Cam Ward, Tennessee Titans quarterback. And the undefeated AFC South champion quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, is walking out into the field.
Whoa.
That would be something, wouldn't it?
That would be something. I don't even have to travel that far.
That's true.
Speaking of
Imagine
NFL,
field level with that one.
Can we acknowledge the absolute insanity that the Steelers just did the other day?
Bringing back old Aaron Rodgers?
I consider myself a Steelers fan, but when they signed him the first time, I said I'm never watching another Steelers game until he's not on the team. So I guess I'm going another year without watching.
Unk still got it.
No, he doesn't.
That's the problem. You guys aren't doing anything otherwise. You guys are drafting bad and not going out and getting any of these other free agents.
The Steelers quarterbacks.
They went to the play. They went to the playoffs. They got the playoffs, right? They went to playoffs.
They didn't make it.
Last first round.
Yeah, they did.
They didn't do anything.
They
we lost.
Knocked out the Ravens.
I mean,
Tyler Lute knocked them out. But anyway, good stuff. When we come back, we'll switch over to the NBA. Talk about the NBA draft because 3 Tennessee players have been slated in the most recent ESPN mock draft, which would be a program record. We'll tell you the 3 names when we return right here on the Playbook.
Catch up with all things Fan Run by subscribing to our podcast feed. Like, rate, and download the show from the Fan Run app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jacob Wilco at Knoxville Smiles. Have you ever wanted to improve the look of your smile? We know firsthand what the power of a great smile means to a person's confidence and health. Our team of doctors can provide you with an array of options for helping you achieve your cosmetic goals. From simply moving teeth into a better position, to reversible cosmetic bonding, to full mouth implant-supported dentures. It is our goal to help patients feel good about their appearance while achieving optimal health. Want to learn more? Call us at 865-539-1776 to schedule an evaluation or visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com.
Hi, this is Bo Kregner from the Kregner Group at Realty Executives, and I know there's a lot of choices here in East Tennessee when it comes to choosing a realtor. Here's why the Kregner Group is different. At the Kregner Group, our motto is walking by faith, serving others. It's how I live my life. It's how I run my business. Here at the Kregner Group, we're committed to doing real estate the right way. Faith, honesty, integrity. The Kregner Group. Call me anytime at 865-742-1035 or visit my website at bonoshouses.com.
Welcome to Axle Logistics, where excellence isn't just a goal, it's an energy. As a leading third-party logistics company, Axle is powered by an award-winning culture built on a work hard, play hard mentality. Here, the drive for success is contagious and hard work never goes unnoticed. Whether you're just starting out or looking to level up, Axle Logistics is the place to launch your career. Join us and take your ambition to the stars. To learn more, visit axlelogistics.com.
All right, back here on the Playbook, we appreciate you hanging out with us, wrapping up hour one with some NBA mock drafts, as the NBA Combine was a strong showcase event for two former Volunteers projected in the second round of ESPN's latest NBA draft. Nate Ament obviously was going to appear on that list, but you can now add Jacoby Gillespie and Felix Okpara to the mix for the Volunteers, as both of them had really nice performances during the multi-day event last week in Chicago. Okpara was praised for his defensive and shot-blocking abilities, while Gillespie shot the lights out in a couple of 5-on-5 scrimmages. 28 points in one of them. Almost a career high for what he did in Tennessee. So both of those guys, their stocks have been raised, and ESPN's Jeremy Wu put out a mock draft before the Combine. Okpara was at 54. Gillespie was at 60. Now he's tagging Okpara at 49 to the Denver Nuggets and Jacoby Gillespie at 54 to the Golden State Warriors. Those two join Nate Ament at number 10 to the Milwaukee Bucks as the three Volunteers on this mock draft. And I think, first off, this is pretty cool that Jacoby Gillespie and Felix Okpara are getting the type of flowers that they deserve. Now, obviously, there were a lot of names that dropped out of the draft that could have gone, that might have limited the ability for a Gillespie or Okpara to hear their names called. And this doesn't necessarily mean they're going to hear their name called. NBA draft goes a number of different ways. In the second round, it's kind of more so who you've connected with. Like an Adu Thero goes to LA after basically telling every team, I don't want to go there. I'm already going to LA, So sometimes it gets a little situational. But to have three guys mocked in the top 60 picks is really impressive for Tennessee. And I think speaks volumes to Rick Barnes that two transfers and a true freshman are the three guys he's about to put into the NBA. Jacoby Gillespie began his career at Belmont, then went to Maryland, and then wrapped up his time in college with Tennessee this past season. I thought he elevated his scoring as an offensive player and still continued to give you the defense. Keep in mind, he had 8 steals in a number of games this year. Felix Okpara came over from Ohio State, was a little bit lanky, wasn't great with his feet, and this past year was one of the best rebounders in college basketball. And then Nate Ament, well, he had a high ceiling, high expectations for sure, but I think he exceeded those during his stretch in February on, where he was playing some of the best basketball in the country. And I think this speaks volumes to Rick Barnes and the job he does, both on the recruiting level, both out of the transfer portal. And now you're seeing results. You come to Tennessee, I'll put you in the NBA. It doesn't matter if you come from high school. It doesn't matter if you come from Belmont, Maryland, Ohio State, or Nevada. We'll put you in there. So I think this is a great testament for Barnes, and good to see all three of these names get some representation.
Would this be, like, speaking on Okpara and Gillespie, if they go late second round? We saw Meshack go last pick to y'all. Is that what mainly the second rounders will be? Will be like a two-way type contract type thing, or do you see them making a roster?
Yeah, for a Gillespie, I'd imagine it's a two-way. For an Okpara, I think he's a player that could play right away, or not be a two-way guy specifically.
Right.
But usually these later second-round guys are the two-way because you've got that ability as an NBA team anyway. You might as well give a chance to Felix Okpara with a lengthy frame, or a Jacoby Gillespie that kind of fits the mold of having a young guard, undersized guard in Golden State. So I think either of those guys could end up playing full-time, but I'd say more for Gillespie, a two-way. Okpara, I could see more full-time contract.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's just piggybacking off what you said. I mean, it's pretty amazing for, Gillespie and all three of them, and just Barnes' success the last few seasons. I mean, just all the guys he's put in the league, and it's another reason, just going back to Duke Harris, why he came back and didn't enter a name, because I think Barnes is going to work wonders for him and prove his draft stock. And this is just another perfect example of that. And this is a loaded draft. I mean, you find good players. I mean, the second round is even loaded with some good players. So this is a huge accomplishment and another recruiting tool for Barnes and company to have. I mean, you'll be hard pressed to find many more. I mean, obviously Duke and some of those schools have put number of players in, but I'd be hard pressed to find a team that's done 3 players in consecutive or the last couple of drafts the way Tennessee has. And just we're turning into a basketball school pretty quickly.
Yeah. Basketball school, Tennessee. Hey, we will be a basketball school. Tennessee will be a basketball school in October.
Yeah, especially if football goes the way we're thinking.
But some people get mad if I say that. So
yeah, they can't get mad. I think more people are probably more excited about basketball.
Some people get mad. They're like, "Oh, he's so negative." I'm not negative. I'm a realist, and I've been positive about this team too. There are positives to be said. Second day in a row I've done that.
Yeah.
There are positives to be said about Tennessee, but I have to be real. I just don't think the quarterback situation is going to get you to the college football
know the
playoff.
Point guard situation has always been pretty good with Barnes.
Yeah,
we'll have that.
But people should be excited for Tennessee basketball too.
I think saying that is more so a compliment of the basketball team more than it is a negative comment about the football team.
You had a good basketball team this year. Flex it.
I think it's just the basketball team is so good. I don't think it's a negative aspect about the football team at all.
Football may have more losses than basketball.
Well, so that would be a problem too. All right, when we come back, hour 2, we'll do my post-spring top 25 teams in college football. Where does Tennessee land on that list? And then a little bit later on, the NBA playoffs last night, an awesome game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. We'll break that down. Stay right here. It's the Playbook on Fan Run Radio.
Follow us on Twitter or X or whatever they're calling it these days at Fox Sports Knox. Fox Sports Knoxville. Fan Run Radio.
Blackford Veterinary Surgery Referral specializes in surgeries not regularly performed by your pet's general veterinarian. They're currently accepting referrals from vets all across the country. With their newly renovated state-of-the-art surgery center and highly trained staff, clients can rely on professional and thorough care. If your vet says that your pet needs surgery or rehab, ask for a referral to Blackford Vet and let them get your best friend back on its feet. Located conveniently in West Knoxville. For more information, visit blackfordvetsurgery.com.
Snakes, zombies, sharks, heights, speaking in public. The list of fears is endless. But while you're clutching your blanket in the dark, wondering if that sound in the hall was actually a footstep, the real danger is in your hand, when you're behind the wheel. And while you might think a great white shark is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville. Fan Run Radio.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
Smoky Mountain Brewery is the place to be for game day. From the moment you walk in, it's wall-to-wall big screens, making Smoky Mountain Brewery the perfect place to watch the Vols or your favorite team in action. With locations in Turkey Creek, Maryville, Pigeon Forge, and Gatlinburg, you're never far away from a great time at Smoky Mountain Brewery. Try one of their world-famous microbrews like Black Bear Ale, Mountain Light, or Cherokee Ale. Juicy burgers, wings that bring the heat, and delicious handmade pizzas made with hand-tossed crust from the freshest ingredients and their own special sauce from a secret recipe, topped off with hand-grated cheese and farm-fresh toppings. And don't forget, those famous microbrews are also available in kegs for your next party or in 6-packs and growlers to go. So grab your crew and head to Smoky Mountain Brewery and tell them Fan Run Radio sent you. Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good.
Fan Run Radio, where Big Orange Country comes to talk sports. Start your morning off with your daily dose of talk sports with John Reed and Cody McClure from 8 to 11. Then it's Tony Basilio from 11 to 1. The Playbook with William Pattison from 1 to 3. And The Drive from 3 to 6. It's 10 hours of hard-hitting local sports radio every day, right here on the flagship station for Tennessee fans. This is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Blackford Veterinary Surgery Referral specializes in surgeries not regularly performed by your pet's general veterinarian. They're currently accepting referrals from vets all across the country. With their newly renovated state-of-the-art surgery center and highly trained staff, clients can rely on professional and thorough care. If your vet says that your pet needs surgery or rehab, ask for a referral to Blackford Vet and let them get your best friend back on its feet. Located conveniently in West Knoxville. For more information, visit blackfordvetsurgery.com.
Hour number 2 on a Tuesday, live from the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios. It's the Playbook on Fan Run Radio. Brett Hullander and Caleb DeBusk joining you. I'm William Pattison. Great stuff in hour number 1. We'll continue it here in hour number 2.
I saw real quick. I saw your Jags a little bit in the news about the Urban Meyer money situation, and then I saw them also moving the Jaguar this morning. Did you see that? While they were doing the remodeling,
yeah,
they were hoisting him up to, they said don't panic, Jaguars fans, or something.
Yeah,
and I also saw a dunk booth. I don't know. I'm getting so much Jag stuff. It's crazy. Trevor just stepped up there and boom, first throw just drilled the mascot into the dunk.
Well, when you got the Duval key right next to you, we were talking it might not have been. Someone has I think it was Jackson.
Duval.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. Jackson said that he believes that our phones listen to us. So that's probably why, because we've talked a little Jags lately. We've been jagging.
Yeah, we have been. But yeah, I was just saw those couple of things this morning. I was like, this has to stop.
Yeah, we're jagging over here. Now, sometimes Jag's going to jag means something negative, but we're jagging right now. That's positive.
Yes.
I wish Pittsburgh didn't suck.
Yeah. Hey, you got the first name of that towel right.
Yeah.
Terrible, but at least in terms of the quarterback play. But hey, you got Will Howard and Drew Aller.
Yeah,
I do not know why we signed Aaron with those guys.
How about that group? That's some insurance for Aaron Rodgers.
That is too.
Oh, he needs some. Might get on their insurance plan. All right, hour 2. Post-spring top 25. I hinted at it yesterday. Might as well do it all today. So we'll do that. And then we'll also talk the NBA playoffs, Eastern Conference Finals, Western Conference Finals. Last night's game was incredible. So let's get right into it. Hour 2, post-spring top 25. And we'll begin real quick on the cut. Some teams that I do not have in here, but I did want to mention Missouri. They've got a Ole Miss transfer quarterback Austin Simmons coming in. Caden Lee out of the transfer portal as well. He's another Ole Miss wide receiver. Ahmad Hardy, been in the news for getting shot in the leg. We'll see if he's available to go, but if he is, he's the SEC's leading rusher returning. So Missouri could be back in that top 25 mix, but just with the uncertainty with Hardy, I had them out. Clemson I included here because even though the Tigers haven't been great as of late, I still have to trust that Dabo Swinney is going to be able to put some form of a good team together in a bad ACC. And
who's their quarterback?
Well, they got a quarterback.
Yeah,
they got a quarterback competition. So
okay,
they got a redshirt sophomore Vianney that could possibly.
So they didn't go in the portal.
No, they don't have a portal guy. They're looking at two kind of underclassmen.
Got you. Okay.
Colorado's another team I've got on the cut. I know a lot of people don't like Deion Sanders, but I think he's a great coach and a great motivator and knows how to get the best out of his guys. I think last year he kind of whiffed in the transfer portal, got some players that just did not turn out, like a Caden Salter. So you got Juju Lewis at quarterback. I like what he could possibly be in year 2, full-time starter. Isaac Wilson, Zach's brother, is another quarterback in the mix there. But Cam Perry out of Miami of Ohio at wide receiver. I like him a lot. He's kind of a gadget guy, but I think he could be good. Arizona, a lot of that is just because of Noah Fafita returning, but they're still on the cut. And then finally on the cut, South Carolina. 3 projected first-round picks in Lenora Sellers, Dylan Stewart, and Nick Harbor. That's a lot of great talent, but can they survive in the SEC? And what does that offensive line look like? Allowed 44 sacks last year. They gutted it. Added guys like Jacarius Peak, one of the top players in the portal, but he got hurt. And they've got 2 starters hurt, Thompson and Peak. So on the cut for right now, and they might not have
coaching's lacking, right?
Yeah, well, they might not have a coach in October, Brett. But
I know.
Let's get into it. The full top 25 will begin at 25, Florida. And I've kind of got these separated, by the way, in kind of sections. So on the cut, that's on the cut. This group is who you believe in, because I think that's a big thing, kind of 15 to 25 down. But I've got Florida. I'm a firm believer in John Summerall. I think he's a sharp guy. He's won at both Troy and Tulane in his 4 years of coaching. Sun Belt Championship, American Championship, had the Green Wave in the college football playoff last year. You're 10th in return production. You've got a really good receiving core, too. Eric Singleton Jr., Vernell Brown, Dallas Wilson. I think that's really scary. Their quarterback spot is going to be up for debate this offseason. Tramel Jones, a guy that's been on the roster, and Aaron Philo, a Georgia Tech transfer, battling that out. But I'm a firm believer in John Summerall. I think they've got a talented team. I put them at 25. Louisville at 24. Jeff Brom, one of the most underrated coaches in college football, and always has his team in the mix. And this is year 4 of doing this transfer portal quarterback thing. You know, Brett, we were talking a minute ago about, you know, how important it is to develop a high school quarterback or just go all in the portal. Jeff Brom does the portal for his quarterbacks. Jack Plummer, Miller Moss, Tyler Shuck. Now he's doing it with Luke Kienholz out of Ohio State, former highly recruited guy. And he's won 10 games, 9 games, and 9 games in his last 3 years doing this transfer portal route. And I've got to trust him here. Running back Isaac Brown returns too. Really good back. Number 23, the Tennessee Volunteers. They just cracked my top 25. A lot of it is based on the defense. I think that's going to be an improved unit this year. I like the offensive production returning at wide receiver and at running back. The offensive line is solid, but it's an SEC 9-game schedule. It's a young quarterback. I think this is a team that loses 4 games at least. And if you lose those 4 games to top 25 teams, you might still be able to hover around. But I put Tennessee at 23 just because of the questions about quarterback. But I do think Tennessee had the best hire of the offseason and strength and conditioning coach, Derek Owings. 22, Washington. A lot of drama for them this offseason. And I think my big question with this group is, can they navigate the Big Ten with an elite quarterback? Because they've got that in DeMond Williams Jr. Might not have had the best timing to announce he was going to enter the transfer portal and have all that go down, but he's a really good player. 3,065 yards, 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions last year while adding 6'11 and 6 scores on the ground. Dual threat, can do it all. I really like DeMond Williams Jr., big reason why the Huskies are at 22. 21, Oklahoma State. I love the Pokes this year. Eric Morris and company, I'm buying the stock. Drew Mestamaker, get comfortable with him. That's going to be a first-round pick. Caleb Hawkins, transfer from North Texas at running back, one of the best in the country in the transfer portal. And Wyatt Young, he's a crafty little white guy at that receiver position. He was another really highly regarded transfer portal player. I like that trio, and I'm trusting Eric Morris because he's been a winner everywhere he's been. Whether it was at Texas Tech as Patrick Mahomes' quarterback coach and offensive coordinator, whether it was an Incarnate Word with Cam Ward or Washington State with Cam Ward, North Texas included. Chandler Morris, he was parking cars until he started playing for North Texas, ended up playing
should have been a playoff team
at Virginia. Yo, I agree. North Texas should have been a playoff team this past year if, they obviously lost the American Championship. Right. But Drew Mestamaker, I've got a lot of stock in him. He's a former 0-star recruit that's now going to be a possible first-round pick. What a story there. Number 20, it's Penn State. This is for Matt Campbell. because he's 72-55 in 10 seasons at Iowa State. You go back before his time, the Cyclones were dog crap. So I like his ability to turn around a program and put it up right. And he's got all the funding necessary at Penn State. Now, the problem I have with this team is, first, it was a weird transition. They move on from James Franklin, but they were one of the last teams to hire anyone. It was kind of like finding a 10 at the bar late at night, and it ends up being a good night, right? You kind of got lucky. So I don't love the transition they had, and it's also basically a carbon copy of the Iowa State team from last year.
Penn State Cyclones.
Penn State Cyclones. I've got it in my notes. Rocco Beck, Ben Brahmer, Chase Sowell, Jeremiah Cooper, some really good players. Marcus Neal as a safety, really good players, but Iowa State was kind of a fraud all last year. So what does that development look like in year one at Penn State? 19, I'm trusting SMU because of Kevin Jennings. I think he could take the Mustangs back to the college football playoff if they were to win the ACC, not as an outright team. But Jennings threw for 3,641 yards, third in the ACC, seventh in FBS last year, 26 touchdowns, and a 146.6 passer rating, which was fifth in the ACC. They also got a key transfer in Yannick Smith at wide receiver out of East Carolina. I think SMU has the potential to take advantage of a lopsided ACC. 18, the Houston Cougars. What? William, Houston? This is not the Texans. This is not CJ Stroud. No, this is the Houston Cougars, a non-traditional football school that has a squad this year. 17th in return production percentage at 65%. Three key contributors here. Connor Weigman at quarterback, Amari Thomas at wide receiver, and Khalil Lafafu at the defensive end spot. All those guys had big seasons last year, returning once again this year. You might remember Connor Weigman, former Texas A&M quarterback, had career highs in passing yards, touchdowns, and passer rating last year for Houston. And I think that Texas Tech-Houston game early in the season could be very, very interesting. And then at 17, this is where we kind of cut off on the who you believe in, but it's Utah. I believe in Utah. I'm trusting in Utah because of Devin Dampier returning for the 2026 season. All Big 12 centerpiece last year, 2,490 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, added 835 and 10 scores in 2025 on the ground. And you got a new head coach, Morgan Scaley, former defensive coordinator for this Utes team, taking over for Kyle Whittingham. But I'm trusting in Dampier. I'm trusting in this Utah program that has had success, and Scaley's been there for a big part of it. So that's my tier of I'm believing in you. 25, Florida, 24, Louisville, 23, Tennessee, 22, Washington, 21, OK State, 20, Penn State, 19, SMU, 18, Houston, 17, Utah.
You may have said, what do you mean by believe in you, though? Like, what is your, what do you believe in them to do?
Well,
compete or?
Well, I believe, so when I say believe, right, I believe in a player or a coach or a program.
Uh-huh.
I'm believing that they're going to be a good team because of that, right? Okay. And those are those kind of I'm believing in you teams.
Okay.
So out of that group, we'll start with, because I've got like 3 or 4 groups here. Out of that group, what do you guys make of it? Anything stick out to you, Caleb?
Well, I'll ask you this before I do that. Are you projecting that as what you think those teams are going to accomplish, or do you just think that's where those teams fall right now?
I think right now these are where the teams fall. I try not to base it off the schedule, because I think, sometimes you can have a really good team that I thought
you don't know what the schedule is. There's too many teams that change.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's too hard to do that nowadays.
Florida last year had a really good team, but they just happened to go up against some really, really good teams, and their record, their record was indicative of it. But I thought they were a better team than their record showed, type of deal. So I'm just basing off of the team. What do I get from each of them? So.
Yeah, I like it. It pretty much, I have my own here, so it kind of goes along with mine a little bit. I have a couple teams in here. Like I have Illinois at 25, and then I have Iowa at 24. I have Houston exactly where you had them. I have Houston at 18. I got Tennessee a little higher though. I have Tennessee at 17. And then Penn State's a little higher too. I got Penn State at 16. I really like Matt Campbell. I love Matt Campbell.
I do too.
He's probably one of the better hires. Like you said, he's like 2:30 a.m. They're turning the lights on, and you happen to land something. I got Florida at 21. I mean, somebody has to win at Florida at some point. With the resources they have and the history they have there, somebody has to win. I'm surprised they went the G6 route and hired another up and coming guy. I figured with the past experiences they had, they'd go out and find some big name guy. But so, I mean, Summerall's the guy to do it. I think Summerall, from everything I'm hearing out of them from right now, he's got them on a good trajectory. So overall, I think this 25 through like 18 range of teams usually is like it's difficult to gauge, because most of the time at that point you'll have like one or two G6 teams in there, and then just teams that are playing good at the moment, and you think, they deserve to be put in the top 25. So there's not a lot of thought needs to be put into that group of teams, but I like it so far. I don't take any issues with it.
Brett, anything stick out to you?
Yeah, the Penn State one. I'm just wondering, like Matt Campbell, I think he's missed his window to leave there, but obviously he's got an incredible job. I just wonder if he's if the job's too big for him, though. You can get away with having subpar 8-4 seasons, 9-3 seasons. Penn State they need to get back to playoff contention, kind of like we talked about Tennessee. Penn State, there was no reason with their schedule and the disappointment. It seems like a big gamble to just bring players from Iowa State, and he got there late though too, so his hands were tied. But I just wonder about Penn State a little bit there. Utah's obviously got a new coach, a defensive-minded coach, and things like that. But I mean, it's hard to argue that anybody right in that window and things like that. I think I haven't looked enough into it, but Penn State's the only question I would have is really where they are with this hire with Matt Campbell. And I know their schedule is pretty cake though too. I mean, I know we weren't going to talk about schedules, but it's hard not to look at it and I think he should be successful in year one.
Yeah.
To get his feet wet.
Yeah. I think it does play into it. And I think a big thing is going to be Rocco Beck's health. He had an off-season surgery, so his status is going to be key. We'll now move into, I've got some questions. At number 16, it's Brett's BYU Cougars. Does this offense become multidimensional is my big question, specifically in the big game. Now, BYU reached the 12-win mark for the 5th time in school history and the first time since 2001 last year. And head coach Kalani Sitake decided to stay. Bear Bachmeier back at quarterback, and he led BYU to 12 wins, the only true freshman to lead a program to those amount of wins in 2025, and one of 2 freshmen, including redshirts, to do so as well. So he was a strong first-year quarterback. Not very often you see that, but they only passed at a 45% clip, 95th in college football in pass rate. That's got to be improved. I thought they were way too one-dimensional in both games against Texas. They could run the ball, but when they were forced to throw and Bachmeier was forced to make decisions down the field, he struggled. Can they become multidimensional offensively in the big game? Number 15, the Michigan Wolverines. Bryce Underwood and his development in year 2 is what I'm watching for. Kyle Whittingham, when he took the job, said that Underwood did not have a quarterback's coach last year. That was shocking. And it was kind of playing out because you looked at his feet, you looked at his mechanics, they were awful all over the place. So I'm looking for his development in year 2. And Michigan's obviously going to play some big games, but I do like the transfer addition of J.J. Buchanan at wide receiver. And a name that some Volunteer fans will remember, Salisi Moa, a former Tennessee commit and Utah signee that is now at Michigan. I like him too. I think he's a really good player.
Savion Hyder.
Yeah, and Savion Hyder.
We wanted him too.
Yeah, my Lord, he's a good player. At 14, it's USC, the Trojans. Lincoln Riley believes that the Trojans have entered their championship window. He said that in an interview last week with On3. Do I buy it? Well, I think he's recruited at that level. They were 13th in returning production this year. They're 45th in the transfer portal rankings, and I really like the addition of John Tez Williams and Terrell Anderson, a cornerback out of Iowa State and wide receiver out of NC State, respectively. But what I think has to improve is the defensive front. 132nd in the country in yards allowed per carry under Lincoln Riley. The defense has been improved, but they don't get that much of a pass rush. They don't get back into the backfield like they need to. And when you're playing some of these teams like in Oregon or in Ohio State or Michigan, you got to be able to run and gun with them. They've been unable to do that because they cannot get pressure. And I think that's a big thing. USC can score at will, but they got to find a way to get in the backfield and get stops. Two guys to look at in that sense, Jakeem Stewart, who was a freshman last year, big success, 7.5 tackles for loss, and also the Luke Waffle guy I was talking about earlier, 6'6", 265 as a 17-year-old coming in. That's a guy I think can play right away. So those are I've got questions.
I don't think Lincoln Riley can afford to be wrong there either.
Oh,
I
he can't.
They're in win now mode.
He can't. He can't at all. So those are my 3 I've got questions teams: BYU, Michigan, USC.
No Texas Tech there?
Well, we'll go with Texas Tech still left to go, and we'll now enter into my fringe top 10, and this extends all the way to 13. At 13, it's LSU. Last season, 7-6. They lose in the Texas Bowl, a disaster under Brian Kelly. They've changed. Everyone knows Lane Kiffin, how that all went down. But they were 5th in the transfer portal rankings, and they're 30th in return production rank at 61%. They've got a ton of really impactful transfers. Jordan Seaton out of Colorado, Sam Levitt out of Arizona State, Princewell Uman-Mielen out of Ole Miss, Fahim Delane out of Ohio State. I literally could go down a list of 20 names, but for time constraints, I won't. But another guy I'll mention real quick, Eugene Wilson, the third out of Florida at wide receiver, and Jace Brown from Kansas State. Really like those guys. You returned both your running backs, Caden Durham and Harlem Berry. The team is going to be good, but what is Sam Levitt's health, and what does year one look like under Lane Kiffin? Those are my 2 questions, because Kiffin's going to get the best crack out of every team this year because of everything that went down this offseason. At 12, it's Alabama. This is probably the lowest I've had the Tide preseason in a while. Big thing for them, quarterback situation. Keelan Russell, Austin Mack, who gets the start there? And can they return to a championship standard with either of those guys? Mack, I'm a little bit worried that he's, in this spot in a tighter race with Keelan Russell than I would have hoped for a 4th-year guy. But Russell is the Lambo inside the dusty garage, as I said last year. But I look at Noah Rogers, too, out of NC State, a wide receiver transfer that could be out of impact. Texas Tech at 11, and a lot of this is based on Brendan Sorsby. If Brendan Sorsby is available, this is a top 5 team. But now that quarterback situation's all over the place. Love what they did defensively. Adam Trick, an edge out of Miami, Ohio. Mateen Igbaragba from Wake Forest at defensive tackle. Austin Romaine, a linebacker out of K-State. Like all those guys. I like the offense. Coy Eakin comes back. Terrence Carter's back at tight end. They don't have a quarterback, though. Will Hammond expected to be available by week 2, week 1, and if he's not, it's Kirk Francis from Tulsa. So I don't think Will Hammond, even if he plays, I don't think it's taken him to a championship level. So Texas Tech at 11. If Sorsby somehow gets cleared, we'll do it. Number 10, it's Ole Miss. The Rebels bring back Trinidad Chambliss and Keywan Lacey, Deuce Alexander, and a couple of key contributors on the defensive side of the ball. Also added a plethora of transfers. Mekhi Frazier at running back from Michigan State. Darrell Gill from Syracuse at wide receiver. Karius Kern, probably the top guy, LSU offensive tackle. But my big question for Ole Miss, how does this group gel? A lot of transfers, a lot of guys moving in and out. And what does a full year of Pete Golding look like? Is Pete Golding actually a good coach, or did he just ride momentum off of the coattail of Charlie Weiss Jr. and that offensive staff last season? Final team in the fringe top 10, Oklahoma. Really good season for the Sooners last year. They have a 65% return rate from last year's team. John Mateer, Isaiah Sentenga, Kip Lewis, David Stone, Peyton Eli Bowen, Tate Sandall, everyone remembers him. All those guys returning. You had a Parker Livingstone at wide receiver out of Texas. Rocky Beers out of Colorado State. I like a couple of additions here. It all comes down to John Mateer for me, though. Is John Mateer going to become a good quarterback is my question for Oklahoma. Because when he was playing at that level at the beginning of the season.
When he was healthy, yeah.
When he was fully healthy, they looked good. And over the course of the year, he struggled.
Yeah.
And I think the Alabama-Oklahoma game was kind of a microcosm for his season. Really strong start. Quick crumble, can never get it back on track. So Oklahoma fringe top 10 at number 9. So out of those fringe top 10 teams.
You can finish if you want, just for time. If you want to just go ahead and finish.
Okay.
We can just go through the rest of them.
Good deal. Now we're kind of in the still, this is near elite. So I've got fringe elite and near elite.
Okay.
Fringe top 10, but now we're near elite. Texas A&M, Marcel Reed comes back. I like the addition of Isaiah Horton from Alabama, going to go next to Mario Craver. They added a couple of nice defensive pieces too. Reuben Owens at running back is back as well. Mm-hmm. But big question here, how do they reload that defense? How do they reload that defensive side of the ball that had 7 guys either drafted or signed in the NFL? Cassius Howell was one of them. How do they replace that? Same's going to be from Miami at number 7. Can they replace the production on both offensive lines from last year? Mark Bell, Akeem Mazador, Reuben Bain, can they get that type of production once again? Can they find that? Damon Wilson, the second out of Missouri, one of the top recruits in the transfer portal class on the edge, is sure to have an opinion there. But Darian Mensah and Cooper Barkate out of Duke, that quarterback wide receiver duo is supposed to be good. And, you got Malachi Toney.
Yeah. It's a huge upgrade at QB.
Yeah.
So did you say they did reload at defense? Because obviously losing Mazador and Bain. Did they replace those guys?
The 2 edges are looking at Damon Wilson the second from Missouri.
Oh, that's right.
And then you've also got Joshua Burnham from Notre Dame.
Okay.
So those are the 2 guys, but it's going to be a tall task to fill up the shoes of Bain and Mazador.
Do they have longer arms than Reuben Bain?
Let's see. What's his name? Damon Wilson the second, I think, has some bigger arms. We'll see, though.
Yeah. Projected high pick.
Number 6, Indiana, the Hoosiers. Big transfer portal class, the best in college football. Josh Hoover, Nick Marsh, Toby Usun Sami from Kansas State. He's a really good edge. I think this is a group, or excuse me, Joshua Burnham's going to Indiana, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Wrong list. Kiana Davis, defensive lineman for Miami. But regardless, Charlie Becker comes back at wide receiver, Nashville guy. Carter Smith, an offensive tackle, going to be one of the best in college football. I think the big question with Indiana is Cignetti going to be the greatest coach in college football, or is last year kind of a one-off thing? Can they continue that consistency of what they did last year, being one of the best? They've got the portal class to do it. 5, I've got Georgia. My big question with them is, can they win in the postseason? After winning back-to-back national titles, Georgia has now gone 3 straight years without even being one of the final teams in the field, final 4 teams in the field for that matter. So, I like the returning production. Gunnar Stockton, Nate Frazier, Chauncey Bowens, Ernest Green on the offensive line. They got a good group. Couple of nice transfer portal additions. Isaiah Canyon from Georgia Tech. Dante Daddle, running back from Kentucky. But can they win in the postseason? That ends out the near elite. And my 4 elite teams, there are only 4 of them, folks. Number 4, Ohio State. My big question is the Buckeyes. Can they support that offensive line? Can they retool that? Jeremiah Smith, Chris Henry Jr., a 5-star out of Mater Dei. Brandon Ennis, your 3 wide receivers. Bo Jackson back at running back. Julian Sand back at quarterback. Jermaine Matthews going to be the next great Ohio State corner. I like this group. Devin McEwen out of UTSA, too, a speedster wide receiver out of the portal. But can they retool that offensive line? Can that be healthy and good enough in week 2 when they take on Texas? Number 3, it's Oregon. Dante Moore comes back, and he's met with DeCorian Moore, Evan Stewart, and Jeremiah McClellan, one of the best wide receiving tandems in college football. You've also got a couple of key contributors on the defensive side of the ball returning. Bear Alexander, Mateo Uungale, Tateum Tuioti, and Brandon Finney Jr., a guy I mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. And you've also got Dylan Raiola, right? That's going to make everything easier. But my 2 impact transfers here, Iverson Hooks out of UAB, a wide receiver, little speedster. Coy Parrish out of Minnesota, the safety. White boy that can play both sides. I like him. Finally, 2 teams to go. Number 2, Notre Dame. I love this Irish team. I think they're really good. The schedule is going to play well for them. The big question for me is who establishes themselves at running back. Anais Williams is the oldest out of the bunch, but I would look at a true freshman, Nolan James Jr., as a guy that can sneak into the mix. CJ Carr is back. Leonard Moore is back. Kingston Villamu Osu is back. And those 3 guys, I think, could be first-round picks. I like Francis Baru, too, defensive tackle out of Pittsburgh. Finally, number 1 team in college football for me, post-spring, Texas, the Longhorns. Arch Manning, Cam Coleman.
Loaded.
Emmett Mosley
Wingo,
the fifth,
yeah.
Ryan Wingo, Hollywood Smothers, Raleek Brown in the backfield. Woo, man.
And not to mention their defense.
And not to
Simmons.
mention that defensive side. Jelani McDonald's back. Colin Simmons off the edge is back. They add in Rasheem Biles out of Pittsburgh. He's a dog. Bo Masco from Rutgers, a corner. Really good football team.
Are you drinking the Arch Manning Kool-Aid?
Oh, I am, most certainly. He's
I'm
best,
drinking it too.
best quarterback in college football. I thought he improved throughout last season, and he's got a weaponry to do it this year. My question
And
with
he's
Texas.
I didn't realize how athletic he was.
Yeah,
Some of those
yeah.
runs he made.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh.
Oh, yeah. My question with Texas, can they climb through that SEC 9-game schedule in addition to having that matchup with Ohio State? If they played a cupcake, you feel a little bit better, but they're going to have a gauntlet. They host Ohio State in week 2.
I'm just glad they're still playing them. Like,
I
they
know.
could have probably easily
I know.
canceled that because of the way it went last year with them. That wasn't a pivotal game as to why they didn't make the playoff.
But listen to the teams they traveled to. They traveled to Tennessee, LSU, and Texas A&M.
Brutal.
And Missouri, but, kind of a silly dragon out of the 4 there.
Yeah.
And then they host Florida, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Arkansas. So they host Ole Miss, which is positive, but they also got to face Oklahoma on that neutral site Red River rivalry game. So that schedule is just brutal.
They could lose 2 or 3 games and still be the best.
Oh,
team.
yeah. Oh, yeah. But Texas, my number 1 team right now. So when we come back, we'll round table it and discuss it, and then a little bit later talk the NBA playoffs. But stay right here. It's the Playbook. The second half of our post-spring Top 25 debate returns.
For the fans, by the fans, this is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Are you ready for the start of a new season? Maybe looking for your team to go on a tournament run? Get game day ready with Crumble. Head on over to your nearest location and pick up 12 pre-selected cookies plus exclusive toppers. When you're looking for dessert options, there's no question about who you should call on. Our listeners already know. Last year, the Dubai chocolate was a home run, along with the brownie batter. Oreo crumb was another crowd favorite. What new flavor will set the standard this season? If you're in the Knoxville area, there are 3 locations ready to serve you: Clinton Highway, Parkside Drive, and Maryville. Download the Crumble app to build your best lineup and vote on the best combos. You can even put your bid in to request a new flavor. Order in the app and slide on over to your nearest location. Tell them Fan Run sent you, and as always, it's for the fans, by the fans. Don't miss the cookies.
White Claw is taking hard seltzer to new heights with White Claw Surge. At 8% alcohol, White Claw Surge is a stronger wave of refreshment that doesn't compromise on taste. Available in 4 bold waves of flavor like ripe blackberry, citrusy blood orange, zesty natural lime, and tart cranberry. Check out your favorite retailer in-store and online for the White Claw Surge Variety 12-pack and 16-ounce single-serve cans. White Claw Surge. Please drink responsibly.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jacob Wilco at Knoxville Smiles. Have you ever wanted to improve the look of your smile? We know firsthand what the power of a great smile means to a person's confidence and health. Our team of doctors can provide you with an array of options for helping you achieve your cosmetic goals. From simply moving teeth into a better position, to reversible cosmetic bonding, to full mouth implant-supported dentures. It is our goal to help patients feel good about their appearance while achieving optimal health. Want to learn more? Call us at 865-539-1776 to schedule an evaluation, or visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
Fan Run Radio, the flagship station for Tennessee fans.
This ain't no wishy-washy, limp-wristed, kale-eating, half-ass sports radio station.
We're your in-your-face, truth-telling, say it loud, flag-waving, face-painting, hardcore, bring the noise, causing a ruckus, don't give a damn sports station.
Sports talk that doesn't just hang up and listen.
For the fans. This is Fan Run Radio.
Get some.
All right, back here on the Playbook. We appreciate you hanging out with us on this fine Tuesday from K-Town. Joining Fan Run Radio in 26 minutes, it's The Drive with Russell Smith, Bob Baskerville, The Bear, and Walker Smith. They'll round out your Tuesday here. But we'll continue our conversation on that post-spring top 25 I just unveiled. And I want to give you guys the opportunity to weigh in on it as well. I know I did 25 minutes of talking, but there's a lot of info to cover. And, I want to add a little tidbit about each team instead of just blatantly saying some of these
telling
teams.
us the teams, yeah.
So what'd you guys make of it? I know I probably should just send it to you guys so you can refer to it. But at least in that top 5, top 10, at 1, it was Texas, 2, Notre Dame, 3, Oregon, 4, Ohio State. Those are the elite teams. The near elite, number 5, Georgia, number 6, Indiana, 7, Miami, 8, Texas A&M. Then you had those fringe teams as well, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Texas Tech, Alabama, LSU. What'd you guys make of it? Anything stand out? Caleb, you said you did your own. How do we match?
Yeah, basically, I mean, pretty much exactly. I figured there'd be some discrepancies here. The only difference is I have Notre Dame at 1 and Texas at 2. It's not that I think these teams are any like far separated from each other. I think if these teams played on a neutral site, it'd be a pick 'em as far as betting odds go. But something I want to add about Notre Dame just for their schedule, in terms of playoff expansion, if this was a 24-team playoff year going into the season, Notre Dame would be minus 3,800 to make the playoffs. So
they would. I mean, I think they're a really good team anyway. They should have made it last year, deserved to make it last year. They were of the top 12 best teams last year.
Yeah.
And now they have the opportunity. I love narratives. I love stories. There's not a better story in college football than the revenge tour for the Fighting Irish. Now, a lot of people probably won't embrace that story, but it is going to be out there.
A lot of pissed off people at them right now with this, the 12-team playoff, and like they're automatically in if they're in the, the top 12 and they're not in a conference, and they did the whole, we're not playing in a bowl game. There's a lot of hate coming Notre Dame's way, which they already had anyway, and things like that, not being in a conference and things like that. So, I mean, I agree. I mean, they should be in over a group of 5 every time, last year especially. That'd be a lot more fun watching Oregon Notre Dame last year than who Oregon was playing. So, but I don't have any big arguments for, he was telling me a little bit about his and yours and stuff like that. I mean, it's hard to argue those top 4 or 5 teams, really. I mean, I feel like they're not a huge gap between 6 through 10 or so between those. So it's going to be interesting, though, to say the least.
I think people would embrace that Notre Dame revenge tour a lot more if they they would have just kind of ate it last year after they got passed over.
They don't play Miami. Do they play Miami?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They do.
In South Bend.
Oh, that'll be fun.
In South Bend, and it
was like week 2 last year.
It's week 10 this year.
Yeah. Week 10?
Yeah.
Wow, late in the season.
Yeah, I believe it's November 7th. Because that's the same day Oregon and Ohio State play. That's the same date as LSU, Alabama.
There's some huge
Ole Miss, Georgia as well. Utah, BYU. November 7th is going to be a hell of a day.
Yeah.
I mean, they do have to go to mighty BYU, too. Don't sleep on that game.
I won't. I gave BYU some respect.
But they can lose both those games.
Wisconsin
and
and Lambeau should be fun.
Yeah, I think they're going to steamroll Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
But, hey, they've got your boy. The prodigal son playing for the Badgers.
Who's that?
Prodigal child.
Oh,
Colton Joseph.
I know. Love that guy. It would have been awesome.
I know. You've never even met him. And
I know. I just know that guy's a gamer, man. Just watching his tape. I know it was at Old Dominion or wherever it was, but I don't know.
Mon Jayer says ND needs to join a conference or shut the hell up. Well, the reason why they're not going to join a conference is because of the TV deal.
Yeah, they don't need to.
And the way I try to explain it to people is this. Obviously, just if you're outside looking in, it's Notre Dame join a conference. But the reality of it is, let's say I have $100.
Oh, this scenario.
No, it's serious. Let's say I have $100. It's
he hasn't heard this that bad.
It's my $100.
Yes.
And if I join a conference, that's saying, oh, well, Brett, since I'm now joining your conference, I'm going to give you $10. I'm going to give you $10. I'm going to give everyone $10. And now I'm just losing money.
Yeah, but if you win the conference, you get $50 million or whatever.
But
they've got an
exclusive deal with NBC.
They're about to get rid of conference championships, so it's not going to matter anymore.
They've got an exclusive deal with NBC. Why not? I mean, why would you not do that?
They get all the benefits of being in a conference with none of the downsides.
I mean, the obviously there are benefits in not having to be in a conference and not having to go through a grueling schedule. And there are complications of not being in a conference. You got to schedule all those games, right? But for Notre Dame, it's also, why would I divvy out my money when I've got an exclusive deal and give it to, I mean, does Virginia Tech or SMU deserve my money? Hell, who's the worst team in the ACC? Pick one. I mean, Gecko Master says ND needs to get over themselves. My way of explaining it, though, is just they don't want to give out their money if it's theirs. Spoiled crybabies, adds in Gecko Master.
I told you, there's a lot of them out there, a lot of haters.
Yeah, I know. They're polarizing. And that's why I kind of like them.
Well, and CJ Carr's the favorite of the Heisman. So
yeah, CJ Carr's a dog, man.
He'll be another first round pick next year, probably.
Yeah. They just got to figure out the running back.
Who's your sleeper team? Like, if it's not one of the elites or outside the top 10 that you would have to, possibly be in that elite tier, like, is there anybody you're looking at? Is it your Mestamaker in Oklahoma State? Somebody kind of way out there that plays in a weak conference that's probably going to do really well in year one.
So you're a team not in the top 15 or?
Yeah. I mean, just somebody.
I think Oklahoma State could win the Big 12. I think,
and then you're talking a playoff team.
Yeah.
They won one game last year.
Well, but they have a completely different team. Like, literally, everyone's gone. I mean, I think they added 70 guys in the portal or
that's not your average rebuild, though.
Not your average rebuild, but they've got a hell of a coach.
Yeah.
Eric Morris has done it everywhere, and he's got his quarterback, his running back, and his top receiver.
I guess if you can do it in Indiana, you can do it anywhere.
I mean, Oklahoma State, they're not in a good Big 12's got a couple of competitive teams, but
the Big 12 is pathetic this year.
I think
outside of Texas Tech and Houston, it's nothing.
Big 12's wide open. Colorado, BYU, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, Utah.
Is the favorite right now.
You can go up and down the list.
Texas Tech's still the favorite though, even without.
Even Baylor could be sneaky if DJ Lagway learns how to play football again.
TCU maybe.
Baylor's plus.
Yeah, I don't know about TCU. I'm kind of out on Dykes, to be honest. But if I had to give you a real
Oklahoma
sleeper,
State gets Oregon second week of the season.
Well, yeah, because they played that game last year. Now that one's in Stillwater.
It is. That's must-see TV.
That's an opportunity, but I don't know if it'll go well for them. That's a little too quick in terms of turnaround.
Okay. All right.
That's tough. Now, who knows? They could keep it competitive. Boise State playing in a similar situation against the Ducks and kept it close.
I think if I'm taking a
dark horse,
a textbook like sleeper dark horse, I'm going with Houston. I think Houston has a real shot to win the Big 12.
What about, is that like your dark horse for like possibly competing playoff spot?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
If they can win the Big 12, I think
Okay.
Connor Wegman, I'm a big believer in Connor
Really?
Wegman.
I can't believe you guys like Connor Wegman.
I like Wegman a lot. He had a good
A&M.
year. Houston, I'm not. I'm for my dark horse. I'm going to do a team outside the top 25. I've got two of them, and there's both group of 5 teams. One of them, you can probably get around one of them. You're like, what the hell? Memphis is one of them. Marcus Stokes, West Florida transfer quarterback. He's the guy that got up in some trouble back then when he was getting recruited to Florida. You might remember that. They also brought in Aaron Nolan, a former 5-star that started at Ohio State, backed up at South Carolina, now goes to Memphis.
yeah.
Charles Huff's a hell of a coach, too. Done it at Marshall and Southern Mississippi. I think they got a good team. Dallin Hayden comes in, too. Hometown kid at running back. Began his career at Ohio State. So Memphis is a team I look at. How about this one? Dark horse. I'm dead serious. Dead
For
serious.
a playoff spot or just
dark horse, college football playoff spot.
Okay.
Has to win their conference.
Mm-hmm.
Miami of Ohio. I'm dead serious. They've done a hell of a job in the NIL resources in terms of football and basketball. They've got a good football group. They got some good transfer portal players.
Them over somebody like UNLV though.
Well, UNLV is like I love Dan Mullen. I always have. But I'm giving a non-traditional like Miami, Ohio, they're at a MAC. No one gives a damn about the MAC.
So you're just throwing out your just like plus 6,500.
Just dark horse, but I really think they. I mean, remember
the darkest of horse.
Jalen Hyatt's brother, Devin Hyatt, transferred to Miami, Ohio this offseason. He's from Arizona. They got Christian Ross out of Memphis at tight end, and they got a couple of good linemen. They got two Ohio State transfers. And they beat out, who was it? They beat out one team for actually a pretty big. I think they beat out Notre Dame and Ohio State for one of these transfers. I'm trying to find them. It might have been Ben Minich from Notre Dame, but regardless.
CBS Sports has Miami, Ohio as their 82nd team in college football.
Who?
CBS.
Has Miami, Ohio?
Yeah, as their 82nd team.
Well, it's a dark horse. This is they'll have to win the MAC. And Buck, the MAC is good football. Come on, Will. I agree.
I love some action.
I love all football. I watched this. We were talking about Adam Trigg back in the transfer portal. I knew him from watching Toledo and Miami, Ohio play.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying I'd give Miami, Ohio a nod in terms of a dark horse who could be a college football playoff team that comes out of nowhere. They have to win the MAC, obviously, and they don't play a tough schedule, but give me the Red Hawks. They've done a great job in the NIL world. So, any other comments, thoughts post-spring, and we'll head over to the NBA?
Not really for me.
Yeah,
I think.
All right.
Other than I think Ole Miss is going to be really, really good this year.
Really, really good. Better than they were last year.
Oh, yeah. I think Ole Miss is fringe elite.
I was going to say opposite.
Oh, no. Trinidad Chambliss
losing all those. Losing Charlie Weiss Jr. and I mean that's just.
I don't think this team. If this team, if they do what I think they're going to do, I think they're either play for or win a national title.
Wow.
I don't know if I have that trust in Golding yet. I think a lot of that was Charlie Weiss.
I think they can. I'm not saying that I think they're going to. I think that they're very capable of it.
Yeah. I don't know.
They got a tough opener, Louisville, right off the bat.
Yeah.
Louisville's in my top 25.
Their schedule's not too bad though, Ole Miss.
They'll get it cracking pretty early. All right, when we come back, flip over to the NBA. Spurs, Thunder. It was in Oklahoma City, but it turned into the Wemby City. We'll break it down when we return right here on the Playbook.
Congratulations. You found sports radio that doesn't suck. This is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Citizens National Bank.
Life is more fun with a Good Life account, offering extra benefits, including bank travel. Experience the trip of a lifetime to Ireland. Explore rolling green hills, historic castles, and charming villages across the Emerald Isle. Get in on the fun. Call 865-429-7935 today.
Citizens National Bank. Banking never felt so good.
Member FDIC.
Barley's has live music on weekends, general team trivia on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m., and now live sports trivia, courtesy of the Knoxville Trivia Guys, every Thursday night upstairs. The game starts at 7 p.m. and is free to play for everyone, so head on down to the Old City and show off your sports knowledge and win gift cards to Barley's. Use those gift cards to buy some delicious food and drinks, and you can take it all in with their wide selection of TVs and indoor projectors. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
All right, wrapping things up on a Tuesday edition of the Playbook. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Coming up in 12 minutes, it's The Drive with Russell Smith, Bob Baskerville, the Bear, and Walker Smith, rounding out your day in Knoxville. And we're going to round it out with some NBA as the Spurs and Thunder provided a awesome Game 1 matchup in the Western Conference Finals last night. And the Spurs come into Oklahoma City and get a win in double overtime. The first double overtime game in the postseason in 5 years for the NBA, and it delivered. Victor Wembanyama pulling up 28 feet away from three, looking
Longer
like
than
Steph
that.
Curry. I mean, yeah,
38 feet.
38 feet away. Something
that
like
was unbelievable watching him do that.
That was almost the exact same spot Steph Curry did that back in 2016. I don't know if you guys remember that game.
Oh, yeah.
I felt a little Damian Lillard.
That was the Mike Breen.
Yeah.
Bang.
About the exact same spot as Curry nailed it. And the funny thing,
Expect that from Curry. Though.
Yeah. And Harrison Barnes got to witness both of them.
I'm telling y'all, Wemby's the future GOAT.
Yeah, he's
easy now.
I know a lot of that was going on last night.
Yeah, it's
as
way too
big
soon.
as as tall as he is.
I
and
agree.
the way he moves and shoots, we've never seen anybody like.
We've
that.
never seen somebody like Braun though.
Well, here's where Wemby could get caught up in that GOAT debate. Now, last night he had 41 and 24, did so pretty
I've
effortlessly.
seen LeBron go 52 and 9 and.
Don't get me wrong. I'm
Yeah.
a LeBron guy. I'm a firm Bron's the GOAT. I've had some heated, spirited discussions with my father.
We just
about
can't
this.
overreact to one game.
Here's where Wemby's going to get caught, though.
Okay.
Every great, lengthy, tall player that has ever come into the NBA has not had a long shelf life.
It's true.
Yao Ming was out of the league after 8 years, and he was the tallest guy anyone ever seen. And I know the league is different. I know that there are more resources and ways to keep your body in good shape and good standing than there was when Yao Ming was playing. But look at Kristaps Porzingis, a guy that is big, that hovers around the perimeter, moves up and down. He's had a number of injuries throughout his career. For a guy like Wemby, I have a hard time believing he's able to play 15 plus years. And that's kind of what it takes to become the GOAT. You got to be around for a long time and win a lot. I have a hard time believing that Victor Wembanyama is still doing this 10 years in the league. Because there hasn't been a guy that tall, that big, putting that type of pressure on his extremities ever. So I think he's great, but I just don't know how long this lasts.
But what are the Chet? What do you talk all this noise? You don't even guard the man. They got Caruso. All they were doing is throwing at the bottom of the rim. I mean, Caruso had a great game. I mean, he scored 31 points, but why do they got these smalls trying to guard him?
Chet's a clown.
I had to check with the FCC violations because I've heard it said on Talk Sports before, and I don't usually say foul words, but Chet Holmgren's a bitch. Go defend the 7'5" Victor Wembanyama.
He doesn't want that noise.
Alex Caruso, and he's a dog. He had 31 last night. I love Caruso. I think you have to have Carusos on your team to win championships. But Alex Caruso is taking him and getting double overtime.
Yeah.
It's like school. It's like if I went to my elementary school right now as a grown adult and went and played second grade basketball.
A couple of those baskets on double over, they're just Wemby's in the post, just throw it up to the rim.
I mean,
and Caruso could have had way more. I mean, Shea was playing me ball there at the end, and I think Caruso could have had maybe 40 if
it's
he
just
actually
annoying
gets
though
the
the way the Thunder started the. Whenever somebody plays the Lakers, they shoot lights out. And I don't get me wrong. I don't know what you guys thought. Like I like Williams. What is it? Jalen Williams.
Jalen Williams.
But if it puts Mitchell on the bench, AJ Mitchell, who's unbelievable against the Lakers, like, are they better team?
Well, Williams had a good night.
30 shots. He took 30 shots last night. We saw the ball moving against the Lakers, and guys were shooting threes. Case and Wallace, your guy McBain. Joe didn't even play last night. He had a great series against the Lakers. Like, I'm just wondering if, and this might be an offseason. I know he's Finals MVP or whatever, but I don't know. Is it a good or bad thing to have him? I mean,
I thought
30 shots is a lot.
I thought it was closer more to 25. Was it 30 exactly?
I mean, what did he do?
I think it was 14 of 24, 14 of 25. I thought it was
11 of 25.
11 of 25.
And Shea was 7 of 23. Caruso 11 of 19. Man, that won't happen again the whole series. He won't make 11 baskets.
Caruso was good in the finals.
He didn't score 11 baskets versus the Lakers.
And don't forget, they get the 12th overall pick in this upcoming draft.
Yeah. My only thing, Oklahoma City's got Topic sitting there on the bench.
Chet didn't want any of that noise. 8 and 8, 2 for 7.
I'm telling
41 minutes.
He's a little boy.
I don't use language like that very often, but man, sometimes
it's fitting. It's fitting.
And De'Aaron Fox didn't play last night.
I know he's just over there in street clothes, hanging out.
Had an ankle sprain.
Brother, it's the Western Conference Finals. Get your ass on the court.
I mean,
but hey,
they got dudes, man.
Dylan Harper, man, he's awesome.
Castle, I mean, God,
Castle. I loved Castle when he was at UConn. They've
made some quality picks.
They've done a hell of a job. I think Castle is one of their best picks because he's not really an ego guy.
youngest team ever last night. Was like 22
Yeah.
was the average age. And they've got room to maneuver if they wanted to in the offseason.
Yeah.
Was that Harper getting chewed for not closing out on that corner three?
May have been either him or Champagny. But if I'm San Antonio this offseason, I say, hey, De'Aaron Fox is for sale. We'll take that $40 million and put it elsewhere. We don't need him. They played it without him last night, and Harper in year 2, or excuse me, Harper as a rookie, I should say. Harper as a rookie looks great.
Yeah.
That's their point guard of the future.
Too, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you get rid of Fox, that's $45 million to play with.
Well,
go add Giannis.
No, they don't need Giannis.
Imagine that.
They got Giannis on. Oh, nobody'd score on them. It'd be impossible to score on them.
Get Ant.
I mean, the most frustrating basketball ever.
What about tonight's game? Real quick.
I like New York.
Okay.
I like New York for the series. Cleveland is kind of in a tough spot here. Just played a game 7 on Sunday. Now they get a little bit of rest, but it's kind of on the same clock that Philly was on when they played New York. New York's been at the spa for the last week.
New York's a buzzsaw right now.
I'm just wondering if they can keep that up. That's such a high level.
I think the biggest worry for the Knicks throughout the rest of the playoffs is is their rotation going to be enough? Can like that 7 to 8 man rotation, is that enough, or are they going to get winded? Because usually
that's all the Cavs play.
The
Cavs don't have anybody can guard Brunson. Are they going to stick that the other way out there?
Knicks are lucky that they added Harden, because Harden doesn't run and gun as much as he used to. Darius Garland run that thing up the court. They like to get in some
Towns
tempo.
is down low by himself, though. I wonder about that with Jared Allen and Mobley. So
I think OG Anunoby's got to be
interesting.
Anunoby's got to be a big player. I imagine
they got players they can stick on Spida and Harden. So
Will, are you going to have a little looking through the window moment tonight, watching Cat out there?
No, I'm not. I'm honestly just kind of hate watching James Harden at this point.
Aren't we all?
At Eastern
It's a big moment for him, though. It
Conference
can
Finals,
reverse the
James
history.
Harden. Conference Finals, James
It's
Harden.
game 1. He's good game 1.
Ooh, man.
He might go 40 in the Garden tonight.
Oh,
40?
4D?
I wouldn't be surprised if Cleveland.
40 shots or 40 points?
No, he's pass first, man.
We'll see.
He's led the league in
I'll
assists
see it when I
before.
believe it. Coming up next, it's The Drive right here on Fan Run Radio. For Brett Hullander and Caleb DeBusk, I'm William Patterson. We'll see you same time tomorrow.
Can't get enough Fan Run Radio? Download the free Fan Run app and take the best Tennessee sports conversations with you wherever you go. Fan Run Radio, where Big Orange Country comes to talk sports. Start your morning off with your daily dose of talk sports with John Reed and Cody McClure from 8 to 11. Then it's Tony Basilio from 11 to 1